If you're struggling with casting, with flipping through impact, you might be looking in all the wrong places.
You're looking in the wrong place, Charles.
All of that effort to hold on to the lag is simply wasted. You need to start looking at what's happening on the backswing and up here. When you get this more consistent, your strikes, your swing, and your downswing is going to be so much easier and reliable. Let's show you how. The concept I'm sharing with you today is set it and forget it when it comes to the downswing and transition. We set it and forget it in the backswing. And it starts with trying to make sure that you get the takeaway a little bit more reliable and consistent with what we're trying to do. A lot of times takeaways, I'm not going to go into it, but takeaways whip in on the inside, we pick it up on the outside, we get too much cupping back here. And remember, this isn't isolated to just about the wrist. This is the connection to this. What this does, what our wrists do, this does. And we always react either subconsciously or consciously to what this club face is doing. Whether you realize it or not, you do adapt to what you're feeling and sensing with what the club face is doing on the backswing and also the downswing. Something I always talk about is reducing the variables. And that is the key to pretty much every lesson, every tip I ever give. It's trying to reduce those variables. So we want simplicity. We want it to become automatic. And we especially want our downswing to be automatic, because that's where the intention comes from. That's where the oomph comes from. We cannot be thinking about manipulating and positions during the downswing, especially when we come into impact. So that is why we have to make sure that our takeaway is more neutral. And the way we do that is really kind of a checkpoint of looking to try and make sure our lead wrist, for my case left, whatever, is relatively flat to my forearm, to my club face. Everything is pretty much neutral and even as we're taking the club back. I'm not trying to over manipulate. I'm not trying to overly hinge. I'm just allowing that club to move backwards. The reason why the takeaway being flat and neutral here is important is because when we get to a reliable placement here, we can now complete our swing. And we still want to be flat and neutral as close as we can with the wrist and with the club head here. And then from there, we can literally forget about it and execute the downswing. So having these reliable, consistent portions of our swing, takeaway and top of backswing, is very important, right? But what happens if we get a little bit shut, too much flexion this way? We then have to adapt. We can't forget about it. What about if I have too much cupping and that face is too open? I have to manipulate and shallow, otherwise that club faces go way open, for example. We cannot just forget about it in the downswing to get ourselves through to the target. So how can we improve on this? You may have even heard of this stuff before, but what can we do to make it more feel like set it and forget it, especially without having to look at where our hands are to try and get some awareness of what they're doing? There is one device that makes this so much easier and takes all the guesswork away, and it's going to be a really good visual for you to see. What I have here is the Hack Motion Wrist Analyzer. This device does so many things, but in this instance, I'm going to show you just how effective it is when you understand what happens when any of this happens or any of this happens on the takeaway and the top of the swing. What I've got here is basically a takeaway drill. And what it's trying to make sure I do is stay relatively neutral as I start my backswing. It's making sure that things are flat here. If I have too much on the inside, too much on the outside, it's going to show me on the app. You can probably even hear it here. So I'm trying to find that neutrality. The club face is pretty even, if you can see that. The club face is pretty even on that hack motion with the face, with my wrist. And then all I need to do is just sort of complete my swing. and we still have that flat lead wrist. So I'm always trying to sort of place it around here, but with the least amount of manipulation as possible, okay? That's what this is teaching us. It's giving us that audio feedback. We're not always having to look and check and try and manipulate. That's the key. But this really helps us when we look at the top of the backswing. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna go to top of the swing drill. This is gonna give me the feedback I need for where my wrists are at the top without actually really having to think or stress about it too much. So we've worked on the takeaway somewhat to try and keep it more neutral, okay? So my goal now is to make sure that I don't cup the wrist too much. It's gonna make sure that I don't have too much flexion, okay? Which are gonna cause adjustments. Just like Goldilocks, I'm trying to get it just right. So I have that neutral wrist. And from here, because as I said, we're setting it and forgetting it, all I need to do is drop those arms and get my chest through to the target. I don't have to do anything else as far as trying to shallow, as trying to square that face up. It is done. And that is why it's so important. The more we can get things neutral here, the much easier it is to hit straight, accurate golf shots because we're not having to try so hard on the downswing. Practicing like that with due diligence is what's going to give you consistency. It's not about just hitting ball after ball after ball. Even without hitting shots, this is a great way to practice because you can do it with your eyes closed and it's going to tell you where my wrists are. So as long as I have awareness of what my wrists are doing, okay, it's going to give me that final long-lasting change for consistency. So if you struggle with contact, if you're struggling with casting and flipping, trust me, work on a more neutral takeaway and top of swing, and the rest will take care of itself. You can learn more about the Hack Motion training aid below. Now, if you want to really get rid of the bad strikes and impacts, you need to learn more about how you can release through the ball. And this video right here is going to show you how to do that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.